We've learned about many different ways to manipulate text using HTML. In this video, we'll learn how to add images to our web pages. So here we have a basic HTML web page, just like we've seen before, all tags that we've already learned about. And we are going to include an image. Now, I already have an image file here called flowers.jpg, but if you don't have an image, you can use whatever image you want. The file format of your image can be a JPEG, a PNG, a GIF file, and really any other image file will work. Now, once you have an image, be sure to include it in the same folder as your HTML document like we have here. This will keep things simple for the sake of this example. However, just like when we learned about links, you can have both relative paths to your images or absolute paths. Whenever possible, you should lean towards using relative links because it makes things much easier to change in the future. So let's go ahead and add our image tag or image element. And this is a self-closing tag, so we don't need to actually have a closing image tag. And we are going to apply the src or source attribute. And inside of the source attribute, we're going to point to our flowers.jpg file and save it out. And when we switch over to our web browser and refresh the page, you can see that we now have an image on our page. Now, an image can be in line with text, so let's try adding some text around our image. I'm going to switch back to our text editor, and just above our image, I'm going to create a paragraph element, and inside of it, I'll just say, here are some flowers. And then below our image, I'll create another paragraph element, and I'll say, aren't they nice? And we'll save that out, switch over to the browser and refresh. And as you can see, we now have a paragraph above our text and a paragraph below our text. Now, there is one more important thing that we should learn about the image tag, and that is the alt attribute. So let's go ahead and switch back to our text editor, and we're going to apply the attribute alt or alternate. And inside of here, you want to basically describe the image. And this will be used for things like search engines. So if someone is using a search engine, they can easily find your image by searching for text. And it will also be used for users that use screen readers and can't actually see the images because of visual impairments. Instead, they'll actually be able to hear the alt text read to them. So we'll go ahead and type flowers blooming in the warm sunlight. It's good to use nouns like flowers or describe things that you can touch or feel like warm sunlight rather than actually using something like colors or something that only a sighted person would have experienced. So we'll go ahead and switch back to the web browser and we'll refresh the page here. And nothing should look different. This isn't actually going to add any kind of a caption to the image. This is just invisible text that is useful for search engines and screen readers. However, if we did want to display that text, we could hover over the image, and if we had a title attribute instead of an alt attribute, or in addition to an alt attribute, we could actually maybe see some of that text come up. So let's go ahead and try that really quick. We'll just copy this alt tag and paste it here, and we'll change alt to title, switch back and refresh. And now when we hover over, you can see that we have flowers blooming in the warm sunlight. That about wraps things up for images. There is a lot more you can do with images, so we'll revisit them when we start learning about CSS.